Big Seance Podcast, episode 139.
Welcome to the Big Seance Podcast. I'm Patrick Keller of BigSeance.com, and this is a place for an open discussion on all things paranormal, but specifically topics like ghosts and hauntings, paranormal research, spirit communication, psychics and mediums, and life after death. So basically, anything that pops up in my paranormal world. The candles are already lit, so you might as well come on in and join the seance.
I wanted to produce a short episode for you today with two things. I promised an episode with responses to the recent John Oliver episode, which got a lot of us riled up, so hang on for more on that. But first, and more importantly, I'm about to introduce you to a young reporter on a special assignment for the Big Seance Podcast, live from his bedroom. His name is Dajon. He's almost 8 years old, and he'll be reporting on a series of books he's reading called Desmond Cole Ghost Patrol. So before we talk to Dajon, I want to read the description of the series from Amazon. When you move to a new town, grown-ups always give you a lot of advice. They say you should explore your new neighborhood right away. They say you should make new friends as soon as possible. They never tell you what to do if your town is haunted. Good thing I live next door to the coolest, bravest kid in the world, Desmond Cole. Together, we've explored a haunted house, chased bikes that ride themselves, shared a beach with surfers, and even met a zombie zookeeper. Join us for some spooky stories, if you dare. With easy-to-read language and illustrations on almost every page, the Desmond Cole Ghost Patrol chapter books are perfect for emerging readers, which Amazon says is ages 5 to 9. And I went ahead and made a list of all of the Ghost Patrol, Desmond Cole Ghost Patrol books that are out there. The Haunted House Next Door. Ghosts Don't Ride Bikes, Do They? Surf's Up, Creepy Stuff. Night of the Zombie Zookeeper. The Scary Library Shusher. That cracks me up. Major Monster Mess. The Sleepwalking Snowman. And there are two that are coming soon that haven't been released yet. And they are Campfire Stories and Now Museum, Now You Don't. These are cute titles. And this isn't mentioned in the series, but I feel it's super important to tell you that not only is it refreshing to have a ghosty paranormal series of books for young people out there, but the two main characters are minorities, and that is so awesome and so needed right now, not only in the world of the paranormal, but in children's literature in general. So have your young paranerds check this series out. Okay, here comes Dajon's new theme music. I am so excited to be sitting here talking to Dajon, our very first book reporter here on the Big Seance Podcast. And he is 7 years old, almost 8 years old. So that's pretty cool. I remember that age. That was a really fun age. I have a lot of memories from that age. But the reason why I wanted to have Dajon on to be our book reporter is because his mom posted some really cool videos recently where he is talking about some books that are right up our alleys, like the paranormal nerd book. Hi, Dajon. How are you?
Good.
What book was it that I saw in the video? Like, what was the book you were reviewing with Mom?
Desmond Cole Ghost Patrol.
And it's a series, right? Is it a series with multiple books?
Yes.
And how many books are in that series?
5.
5. And how many of them have you read?
3.
3. Cool. Will you tell us a little bit about the series and the books and what it's about?
Yes.
Cool. Tell us a little bit about it.
I liked it because Victor Rivas posted it because he's the one who made it.
And you got to meet like the illustrator for the book, right?
He's the illustrator.
Oh, he is the illustrator. Very cool.
And Andres Miedoso made it.
Cool. So he was the writer.
Yes.
And they're cool covers. So tell us about like what you learned when you read it. Like what are they about?
Monsters.
Is this the first book that you've ever checked out that was like paranormal and ghosts and spooky?
Yes.
Yes. Do you think it's like inspired you to read more books kind of like this that are spooky and ghosty?
Yes.
Awesome. So I want to know, would you recommend it to other people that are interested in this kind of thing? And why would you recommend this to other peeps?
Because it's scary fun.
It's scary fun. Like, what's the scariest part? Is there a really cool scary part that you remember?
Yes.
What was that?
When they first got in the house, and then I saw a picture of a ghost.
So does this kid go out and do like ghost hunts and things? Is that what he does?
Yes.
That's awesome. And does he go out with friends?
Yes.
And his parents think it's cool? Do his parents think it's cool that he goes out and does that?
They don't know.
Oh, they don't know. Oh my gosh, it's in secret. But I interrupted you. You said that he helps people too?
Yes.
What kinds of problems do the people have that he helps?
Ghost problems.
Ghost problems like hauntings and stuff in their house. Well, here's my question for you next. Is there a book that you are excited to check out next? Is it just the other books in the series?
Yes.
And do you find that there are a lot of books out there like this? Or is it kind of hard to find books that are cool like this and spooky and ghosty?
There are lots.
Do you have one in mind that you want to check out that you haven't checked out yet?
Goosebumps.
Oh, Goosebumps. Man, Goosebumps is cool. I even hear my big middle school kids talking about Goosebumps at school. Do you have any others you're wanting to check out?
The other ones of these books.
Oh, so like the fourth and the fifth book in the series?
Yes.
Cool. Well, you will have to let me know and have Mom send me a couple of books that you want to check out that you haven't had the chance to read yet, because I am totally going to send you a few books that you can have and keep. You get these from the library, don't you?
Yes.
Do you have a cool local library?
Yes.
Awesome. Are there things that you like? Like we like to talk on the podcast. A lot of my listeners, we like to talk about people being nerds and how it's cool to be a nerd, like different things that you like and different passions that people have. Are there things that you like are totally nerdy about outside of ghosts and spooky things and monsters?
Yes.
What are some other things you're into?
What do you like other than the books?
Oh. That they're funny?
Oh, funny. You like funny things?
Yes. And board games.
Oh my gosh. What's your favorite board game?
Checkers.
Have you ever played Connect 4?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. I love Connect 4. Do you ever play Shoots and Ladders?
No.
Haven't checked that one out. Let's see. I'm trying to figure out what was
I played
cool.
Clue.
Oh my gosh. Like with Mr. Plum and the knife in the library, like that kind of thing.
Yes.
My sister and I, when we were growing up, we used to play Clue all the time, except I wasn't very good at it. Well, that game really matches kind of the books that you're into, kind of mysterious.
That's why I like it.
Awesome. Is there anything else you want to chat about or say? Anything in the world.
That Victor Rivas is cool.
He's cool.
And the other Andres Miedoso.
The author.
They put their selfies in the book.
Oh, so are the stories kind of about them?
About Andres. He's this one.
And so he's got a friend there.
Yes. He's the one who likes ghost hunting.
Does his friend like ghost hunting just as much as he does? Or does he have to kind of convince him?
No.
You guys are getting ready to go to Comic-Con today, or is it just Mom that's going to Comic-Con?
Both of us are.
Oh my gosh. What's the part you're most excited about for Comic-Con?
Dressing up.
You're going to dress up?
Yes.
What are you going to be?
Black Panther.
Wow, that'll be cool. My students like the Black Panther. I've never been to Comic-Con. That's kind of one cool thing about you living in California. I'm kind of jealous that you live in California.
It's fun.
Yeah. Have you always lived in California?
Yes.
Cool. Do you know that I totally would like to borrow your hair? Like if you could show me how to do your hair, my hair like yours, that would be, I don't know if it'll be that cool, but I really dig it. I think it's awesome.
Have a lot.
You do have a lot of hair, so I can have some.
Yes.
Okay. I really won't take your hair because I think it looks better on you. You rock, Dajon. I so am excited to sit here and talk to you. And if you ever want to come on again and review more books after you checked out books, just let Mom know, because I would be really excited to talk to you about them, because I know that there are probably people listening to this podcast who have kids who might be interested in these things, and that's going to help them, find cool books to read.
I'm glad to help.
Awesome. You rock. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Well, you enjoy your weekend and have fun at Comic-Con.
Whoop, whoop, whoop.
All right. Thanks. You have a great day as well.
You too. See you, dude.
Bye.
Bye. Next up, a few weeks ago, I produced an episode where I included a segment from English comedian and political commentator John Oliver. On his popular HBO series, Last Week Tonight, John went on a rant about psychic mediums. And even as someone who is not psychic or a medium, I was pretty offended, and I felt the need to express my frustration. Well, I asked for your thoughts, and I did get some, but I must say I thought for sure that I'd get more voice feedback. But I want to thank Jeanette, who was brave enough to call the hotline with her thoughts. She was actually rudely cut off by the voicemail, so she used the SpeakPipe link to finish where she left off in her thoughts, so that's why it sounds a bit different at the end. If you missed the episode we're reflecting on now, you may want to go back to episode 137 or visit bigseance.com/137 to listen to that first. But again, thank you for going out of your way to share your thoughts, Jeanette. And you're up first.
Hey, Patrick. My name is Jeanette, and I just finished listening to your episode with the clips from John Oliver. And I am going to just let this information flow straight out of my brain without overthinking it. I had two very specific reactions. One was like, oh, yeah, I've definitely felt this way before. And I have met people in my life that I did feel like were trying to be manipulative. But that said, it can't displace any of the experiences I personally have had in my life. I'm not claiming to be a psychic. I've just had some incredible, very personal woo-woo moments in my life, and I hold those dear because I know that they happened. And when I remind myself of that, then I remind myself that, oh, you know what? Those things happen for other people too. So I don't really worry too much about him going on TV and saying this, because we all have our own experiences, and it's those experiences that kind of nudge us forward, wherever forward is. Second, we all have our role, whatever role that is, of being our authentic selves. And we all have people we look out for and worry for, as well as we look out and worry for ourselves. And John Oliver has a platform where he has seen and felt strongly that some people are being taken advantage of. He's using his platform for those who don't know any better and feel desperate to maybe make a decision that might not be in their best interest. The thing is usually I have found people who seek out any kind of mediumship or spiritual guidance outside of what they've grown up with is usually because they've met somebody and they have a trust with that person and they feel inspired to go ahead and try and to look into it anyways. And I take comfort in that, when you're ready, you'll go forward with that. Sometimes you'll meet somebody who nudges you there. Sometimes you won't. Maybe you'll have dreams that come true, or you'll find this strange synchronicity that keeps happening all around you, and it just makes you go like, oh, God, this is so weird. And that nudges you forward.
There are lots of people out there who do get taken as a sucker. There are people out there who don't have others' best interests at heart. John Oliver has a platform. He seems like a good guy. He means well, and he's put a voice out there to people just to be more careful. We all find our way to that spiritual moment one way or another. And I don't think it's something to worry too much about. You meet people, you make friends, something happens to you and it makes you change the way you look at life. And then you start to seek out those people who have an intuition or mediumship or just something that broadens your view of how you're connected to the universe. I hope that helps. I like your show. Thanks so much.
Last week, hopefully you heard my interview with international spiritual medium Barrie John. If you missed it, check out bigseance.com/138. And you can learn more about Barrie by going to barriejohn.com. Well, after that interview, I captured his thoughts on this whole John Oliver thing.
I would probably say no, because it was interesting listening to it for me, and I wasn't offended at all, because I think that's the same no matter where we go. We're going to get people that believe in us and people that don't. And because of the nature of what we do, there's always that element of, let's call it humor or humiliation that people want with us, and I think what we've got to do is rise above that. And I always go, do you know what? I don't force people to come to me. They come to me out of choice. They come to me because they want me to help them grieve. They want me to help them lose something or lose that emotion, deal with that emotion. And I think I look at the service that we provide, and I have no problem if people turn around and go, oh, we don't believe in it, we're not interested in it, it's not for us, it's not our thing. But it's always going to be the brunt of a joke, because, this is where I think nowadays for all of us that work with the spiritual field, we need to get involved more scientifically with it to try and prove that there is something out there. And, we're not just going down this route of being unprofessional with it. And again, it doesn't help now that there are so many people that are suddenly, becoming let's call it the street mediums, or mediums that are just doing readings for the sake of it. And they're not doing it because it's their ability that they've developed. People see this in the UK as a very quick way to make a living, let me call it that. And I think what you've got to do is go out there and think, am I doing this for the right reasons? And I think if you're doing it for the right reasons, you've got nothing to worry about. There are always going to be that element of skeptics. I think it's healthy to have skeptics on board because it makes us work harder. It makes us work harder to prove that something exists. And for me, over all the years that I've done demonstrations, you find that at every demonstration, public demonstration that I do, I will always get skeptics in terms of giving them the first message. And they'll always come up to you afterwards and go, I didn't believe in any of this, but what you've just done is you've just made me believe. And I go, that's my job done then.
So we just need to make sure John Oliver has his moment.
Yeah, exactly. And do you know what? I welcome people like that. I really do, Patrick, because I think, number one, it's healthy that we have people out there that question what we do, or but on the other hand, then I look at it and I go, but would he ever be receptive if somebody gave him a very good message?
Yeah. So I've often felt, as I've talked to quite a few people over the years from the UK, that there's kind of a different view of psychic mediumship, I think, here and there. And I'm wondering if you see a trend. Like I've heard from people in the last week that, oh yeah, as far as like skeptics, it just keeps getting worse and worse. And then I'm also hearing people say, oh, there's always going to be some of that. And the world is getting progressively more spiritual and people are being open to that. And so I'm wondering if you're seeing a trend either way.
I would say certainly, one of the things that I'm seeing is people are becoming more, let's say, more sort of spiritual. People nowadays want an easier way of life. They don't want stress anymore. They want to have a comfortable life, and this is what I'm seeing more and more. People are coming to me because they want to turn off from everyday life. They want to turn off from the stress, the hassle, all the job situations. And even in terms of people with very hectic families and lifestyles, people want to relax a lot more. I'm seeing this more and more with spiritual retreats that I'm doing, where people come along. We do a lot of meditation. We do a lot of things like, Tai Chi. We get them just in a nice sort of position where they go home and they go, you know what, I just needed that rest. And, this is the biggest problem for all of us nowadays. We don't take enough time out for ourselves. We just keep going. It's almost like we're on a mission to do as much as we can and as fast as we can. And I go, just take a breather, relax, and I think it's really developing now a lot more, and people also are wanting a lot more answers to their life path, the way that they're going in life and where they're going as well, and I think, it's helping people with that grieving process and moving on in their life. So I think people are seeing it more and more now. And I think that has a lot to do with the big publicity of TV now, where, a lot of shows we have on about ghost hunting, mediumship, paranormal, the other side, and people are being more open to it. It's like people that talk to me about their experiences during operations where people have maybe had a near-death experience and, let's say they've been to the light and they've turned around and come back, or they've pushed them back. And I think for me, that's fantastic, because that shows me that people are going, there really is something to this. I can't explain it, but there's really something to it. And I think that's what I want to see more of. I want to see people just, pardon the expression, jumping in and having a go.
And I guess some people might have the view that the fact that he's discussing this at all might be a good thing.
Yeah, totally. And the way that I see it is, that it's still publicity for us in a way. It's still getting people looking at us. And how many people have probably gone to look for a medium's website after that, or contact medium just to go, actually, you know what, I want to have a try. I want to see if there is something in this. So great that they're giving us the publicity. It's free publicity at the end of the day. I always think, no matter what it is, it's free. Let's take the publicity.
I did get some additional written feedback, and so I want to read some of those now. Steve Skinner says, I just watched the episode. It made me recall advice my dad had given me years ago. When someone criticizes you, stop and be honest with yourself. They may be doing you a favor, calling you out for something that's true. If so, then address it constructively. If it's not true, then let it go and get back to what you were doing. Another lesson he taught me was to consider the source of the information or criticism. Knowing that John Oliver is a comedian, one also knows that exaggeration and hyperbole are tools of the trade. Some of his observations were funny, some were embarrassing, and some were taken out of context. I do think there's a benefit to hearing how someone who believes differently than you really feels. Some of his criticisms were legit, and hopefully drawing attention to them will help the psychic community to correct them. Hearing his concerns may also give us a chance to thoughtfully come up with some answers to have ready when a friend or family member brings up the same issues. Being by nature sarcastic and at times obnoxious, I enjoy most forms of humor, even if it's aimed at me or things I'm interested in. I love to laugh at myself, and I provide my family and friends plenty of material on a regular basis. Having been an obnoxious skeptic until May of 2012, I also understand how sometimes you can be blind to things that are right in front of you until you have your own personal experience. And I do have to say, I'm going to break in here. Steve has contacted me with kind of some of his story of being a skeptic and now not being so much of a skeptic and kind of turning the page a different direction as far as that goes in 2012. It's really interesting. He continues, if John wasn't raised in a family that was open to the paranormal and hasn't experienced anything himself, I couldn't really expect any different position from him. Who knows? One day he may have a paradigm-changing moment, as many of us have, and revisit this topic with a whole different take. Thank you, Steve. Our friend Renata Daniel from Australia, she says, second time around was as confronting as hearing it first time around. They have cherry-picked and really also directed scorn against those who are in the eye of the media. I do agree that grieving families should not be targeted by mediums. I was taught never approach someone and give them advice or a reading if they had not asked me to first. I have seen it happen in a supermarket lineup when paying for groceries, and it is awful for the person involved. There will always be those that prey on vulnerable people. And again, people take what they see on TV shows as gospel and think all psychics do the same thing. Thank you, Renata. Bruce Williams had a few things to say. Hi, I think that your inclusion of the John Oliver rant was a nice balance. It is a tough world for anyone different. The same names of gullible, easily fooled were leveled at scientists with the SPR in England. So cherry picking is a nice tool, but it has a nasty pedigree as it is used to incite hate. If you replace psychic with, say, Italian, you start to see if it has crossed any boundaries. I am happy that the audience was entertained, but getting names is hard. The Dutch clairvoyant Croiset, I'm quite sure I'm probably saying that wrong. Croiset was better at locating lost children. Each has a skill. I hope that caring about people and giving comfort is not the victim with such broadcasts. Thanks for a thought starter, but I suspect hosting a podcast platform is an accessory after the crime. At least you will be in with some nice people, enjoying your broadcasts as usual. Thank you, Bruce Williams. We have a comment from Corinne, which was posted at bigseance.com, and I don't get very many comments often anymore on bigseance.com, so that was a nice surprise. She has a lot of thoughts here, and so I'm gonna get through all of them here. So this is from Corinne. So I'm a big fan of John Oliver. I don't have HBO, but when his main story gets published on YouTube the following day, I always take the time to watch. I think his comedic reporting is smart, well written, and cuts through BS in a way that is so necessary during this time in history. So when I started watching his segment on psychics, I was sad and kind of shocked to have to turn it off. It makes me slightly uncomfortable to pass judgment on his segment while not having seen it in its entirety, but I was too offended to watch more than 10 minutes. Here are my personal thoughts on what I did watch. The blanket statement that all psychics and mediums are frauds is incorrect. Easiest statement of this whole post. Of course, I can say that, though, because I've been lucky to have only encountered truthful and positive people with these types of gifts. But I also think that there are, of course, many frauds, scammers, or people who are out there to take advantage of others. I didn't see the cases that John presented, but it sounds like he reported on the result of some scams or bad psychic work. Not sure if that's a correct or fair way to term that. I agree with the statement that your listener made that no psychic or medium is going to be 100% accurate. To me, though, this expectation that somebody is all-seeing and all-knowing is silly. From my limited knowledge and experience, these gifts just seem like a different type of communication. As with all communication, there are pitfalls and differences in interpretation and understanding that exist. I don't look down on or blame people who don't embrace spiritualism, or maybe just this idea that this type of communication is real. I myself only embraced it about 2 years ago, and I've been linked to believers my entire life. The events that led me to my belief are personal and unique to my story, as it is with all belief. For me, it has been a positive change in my life, but I totally understand the fact that not everyone embraces the same beliefs and that some have been negatively affected by this particular one. The question, was his reporting on the subject fair? I think it would have been smarter reporting to talk about facts only. Stories of fraud, how to spot scammers or opportunists, etc. Reporting on your personal beliefs as fact while only citing fraudulent cases is irresponsible and disrespectful. Anyway, this whole thing has me bummed. I still have so much respect for the work John and his team do, but this was a blunder. Thanks for doing a segment on this story. It's been on my mind since it came out. I'm looking forward to hearing what your other listeners think. Corinne, you are a fabulous writer, first of all, and I really liked what you had to say. And I think your thoughts kind of, it like compiled all of our thoughts. And so that was cool. So thank you, Corinne. Well, that's it. If you feel like you have more to contribute to this topic and the John Oliver episode, then we'd be glad to have you share your thoughts in the Big Seance Parlor, our private Facebook group. Thank you to the following super paranerds who support the show at patreon.com/Big Seance. Genesis, Diana Lloyd, Natalie, Sonia B, Kim Robb, Jim Budd, Josiel Lorenzo, Susan Davey, and Paula Mitchell. My supporters at the Parlor guest level, who can be found at bigseance.com/Parlor guests, are Linda of shimmeringmoons.com, Denise Sia of Mystic Moms Paranormal, Joni Kuntz, Sylvie, Jeffrey Peck, Dina of Dina DeCastro Astrology, Peggy Hagen, Sharon Bowles, Marion Hover Clairvoyant, Bruce Williams, Christopher Kohler, Lana and John of Carbon Lilies, Anna Frias, Norman and Linda Keller, and Karen Prine. That sound you just heard was the above and beyond there's not even a category for your level of support fireworks display. Because I have an awesome listener who I'm excited to say has decided to come out of hiding. And I can now say that Jackie Pacheco supports the show at the $10 level. Thank you, Jackie. And thank you, Paranerds. Additional music in this episode was produced by the amazing Kevin MacLeod, who you can learn more about by visiting incompetech.com.
For show notes, including links to anything we may have mentioned in this episode, visit bigseance.com.
You can find and subscribe to the show in Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play Music, TuneIn Radio, iHeartRadio, and just about anywhere podcasts are found.
Do you have any comments or feedback? Go to bigseance.com/feedback to learn how to get your voice in a future show. Or you can call my feedback line, 7755-TELL-ME. That's 775-583-5563. Interested in learning how to promote and share the podcast? Go to bigseance.com/share. Thank you so much for listening. Unfortunately, it's time to blow the candles out, but we'll see you and light them again next time.